The meat was still fresh. 3 years buried under the dry frontier soil. No salt. No ice. No magic. And yet it hadn't rotted. But that wasn't what terrified him. What terrified him was who had preserved it, and why the governor's daughter had been living off it, alone, for all those years. Stay with this story, because by the end, you'll discover a survival secret so powerful. It didn't just preserve meat, it preserved a broken soul. The wind howled across the empty frontier, dragging sand like whispers of the dead. Ethan Cole hadn't eaten in 2 days. His horse had collapsed miles back, and his last strip of bacon had turned rancid overnight, the stench still clinging to his hands. Out here, food didn't last. Nothing lasted. So when he saw smoke rising in the distance, he thought he was hallucinating. But it was real. A small, broken cabin stood against the endless plains. Half its roof gone. Door hanging loose. And yet, someone was there. Ethan stepped inside cautiously, hand on his revolver. That's when he saw her. A young woman, pale but strong, eyes sharp like someone who had learned to survive the worst. Her clothes were worn but clean. Too clean for this wilderness. "You shouldn't be here," she said calmly. Ethan swallowed. "Neither should you." Silence filled the room. Then his eyes caught something strange, strips of meat hanging near the fire. Dark. Dry. But not rotten. He stepped closer. "How long has that been there?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she walked past him, opened a wooden trapdoor in the floor, and gestured. "Come see." Reluctantly, Ethan followed her down. And what he saw made his heart race. Dozens of preserved meat slabs, perfectly dried, untouched by decay. 3 years? She said quietly. Ethan froze. "That's impossible." She looked at him, her voice steady but heavy. "Out here, you learn things. Or you die." Over the next hours, she showed him everything. How she cut the meat thin. How she smoked it slowly for days. How she used the dry desert air, not as an enemy, but as a weapon. "No moisture," she explained. "No rot." Ethan stared at the meat in disbelief. "My bacon spoiled in 5 days," he muttered. "That's because you're still living like the world is easy," she replied. That night, as they shared the preserved meat, tough, but life-saving, Ethan realized something deeper. This wasn't just survival. This was discipline, patience, and pain turned into knowledge. But one question kept burning inside him. "How long have you been alone out here?" For the first time, her composure cracked. And in a whisper she answered, "Since the day they left me for dead." The fire crackled softly as the truth came out. Her name was Clara Whitmore. And she wasn't just anyone. She was the governor's daughter. Ethan's eyes widened. "That's not possible. They've been searching for you for years." She let out a faint, bitter smile. "No," she said. "They stopped searching. 3 years ago, her caravan had been ambushed. Guards scattered. Supplies looted. She survived, barely. No rescue came. No father. No soldiers. No hope. At first I waited," she said, staring into the fire. "Every day. Every night." Her voice trembled. "But hunger doesn't wait." That's when she learned. The first meat she tried to save rotted within days. The second lasted a week. The third, almost a month. Failure after failure, hunger after hunger. Until she understood the land. "You don't fight the frontier," she said. "You become part of it." And slowly, she mastered it. The smoking. The drying. The patience. What began as desperation became survival. What became survival became strength. Ethan listened, completely changed. All his life, he thought survival was about speed, weapons, and luck. But here she was. Alive for 3 years, not because she was stronger, but because she was smarter, calmer, and unwilling to give up. Morning came. Ethan stood outside, looking at the endless horizon. You don't belong here, he said softly. Clara joined him. For a long time, I didn't belong anywhere, she replied. Silence. Then Ethan made a decision. I'm taking you back. She hesitated. Not out of fear, but because this harsh land had become her home, her teacher, her survival. Finally, she nodded. Days later, when they reached civilization, people couldn't believe it. The governor's daughter, alive. But something was different. She wasn't the same girl who got lost. She had become something stronger. Someone who knew that survival isn't about comfort. It's about resilience. Out on the frontier, meat lasted years, not because of luck, but because someone refused to give up. And maybe that's the real lesson. In a world where everything seems to fall apart in days, the ones who endure are the ones who learn, adapt, and keep going, no matter how hard it gets. If today's story touched your heart, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And remember, even a small act of kindness can change someone's entire life. Red Heart.